As a global traveler and a Southern sweetheart, okra gives its all to the culinary world. You can eat its leaves, its flower, and its seeds. And that gooey substance around the seeds makes it an ideal ingredient in thicker soups and stews, like gumbo. It's good for you too. It's packed with vitamin C, vitamin K, and antioxidants. Heat is okra's best friend, so it's usually grown in tropical environments. But guess what? With our hot Iowa summers and our rich soil, we can grow okra too. I'm Charity Nebbe. On this episode of Iowa Ingredient, we'll head to Waterloo, where Hoffman Produce Farms lets people pick their own okra. And Des Moines area chef Lynn Pritchard brings out the traditional and unique flavors of okra in our studio kitchen. All that and more coming up on Iowa Ingredient.
Funding for Iowa Ingredient is provided by the W.T. and Edna M. Dahl Trust, Chef Lisa Laval of Trellis Cafe and the River Center, and Chef Michael Laval of the Des Moines Embassy Club. For more than 100 years, the Des Moines Embassy Club has provided a place to dine, celebrate, and do business, located in downtown Des Moines and in West Des Moines. And Friends, the Iowa PBS Foundation.
Making this brown vegetable style is actually seaweed.
Olive oil, honey, a little bit of apple cider vinegar, and lemon juice.
It is. These are really, really good. Salud.
Salud.
Okra is incredibly versatile. You can pick it fresh, then prepare it by grilling, roasting, or frying. You can also preserve it for later through canning, pickling, freezing, or drying. Back during the Civil War, the seeds of the okra were roasted, ground, and used to brew a kind of coffee for the soldiers from the South. There wasn't any caffeine in it, but it kept the soldiers warm at a time when coffee was scarce. Okra has a compelling past, but let's move it into the present as we discover and taste the complexities of growing and eating okra. As a plant that thrives in warm climates like Texas or Louisiana, okra can be somewhat of a mystery to Midwest gardeners. You might wonder how to grow this pod-like vegetable, and then you might wonder what to do with it once it's harvested. Okra is getting more popular, and as more people have discovered that they like it, the plant has steadily migrated northward. The rise in okra's marketability has presented an opportunity to growers like Greg Hoffman, someone who has reluctantly inherited the title of okra growing expert.
Definitely not an expert in okra, but I do grow okra primarily because people have asked me to grow it for them. Make sure I'm picking good ones as well.
Despite his modesty, Greg is indeed an expert in many things.
Snake gourd hanging on this one.
He owns and operates Hoffman Produce Farm in Waterloo. When it comes to the idea of locally grown, Greg embodies the mantra as faithfully as he can.
All of our products are sold within 12 miles of the farm. We're interested in taking care of people right near us. We grow a wide variety of crops, everything from zucchini to hot peppers, sweet peppers, apples, pears, things we wouldn't see at the grocery store, let's put it that way. So there's some very interesting crops out in the field.
In some ways, growing okra is easy. It will tolerate poor soils, low moisture, weeds, and pests. But okra is also a demanding plant when it comes to heat and sunshine. The general rule of thumb is, if you can grow corn in your area, then you can grow okra. so Iowa seems like a natural fit.
First time I started out with okra, we direct seeded it into the field, and by the time it came up, the weeds were up, and I didn't have any okra. So I mean, we started with nothing but failure. The okra plant, it's a tall, stately plant most years. I mean, it can grow 6, 8 feet tall. You have to reach sometimes for it. This year, it's not so tall because of the way the weather conditions are. It's not a pleasant crop when it's short like this. When it gets taller, it's not so bad if you can stand up. Harvesting okra, if you think of it kind of like green beans, you really need to go out there every 2 or 3 days to harvest it so it doesn't over mature. The one hiding down here at the bottom. We'll try to break that one. It won't break. We'll try to snap it. You can see the fiber in it. It won't come apart well. So we don't want that. Where these younger ones like this, the tip's very flexible. If we break that tip, it breaks off nice and clean. And we can also feel it's tender in the midribs. So that's their ideal condition. You got your scissors?
I'm not using my scissors. I don't normally use my scissors.
I do. One of the drawbacks to picking okra is the fact that it will make your hands itch. There's not a lot you can do unless you want to wear gloves. The problem with wearing gloves, it reduces your dexterity and the feel to whether or not the okra is good or bad. You just gotta kind of put up with it a little bit, and after a little bit, the itching goes away, so it's not too bad.
Okra may have its quirks, but that shouldn't discourage you from trying to grow it. With a little care and patience, you'll be rewarded with a versatile veggie that works in any number of dishes.
Hi, my name is Lynn Pritchard. I am the chef and owner of Table 128 in Clive, Iowa. Are you headed to the store to get? So it's really become much more of a dynamic experience for me. 25 years ago when I started in this profession, being a talented chef meant that you were a gifted technician. Now that's probably a 30% province of a very big piece of pie. You are inventory manager. You're the staff psychologist. You're this whole host of things that don't necessarily relate exclusively to the food, but certainly play a large part of it. The genesis of Table 128 really started out as what I have kind of branded as sexy comfort food. How can I incorporate every flavor element, every textural element possible? This will be a lobster cream puff. And coaxed just to that perfect moment of maturity and seasoning that will hopefully create that memory or that kind of indelible snapshot of what food really should be to us. So things that I grew up with, things that most of us grew up with, but kind of on an elevated level. Think of your favorite childhood meals only having been prepared by somebody with a culinary education. People will forget how great the food was or how terrible the food was. People will forget the price tag, but they will never forget how you made them feel. That thread of hospitality it's timeless. People want to be taken care of and heard and felt and made to feel good more than ever. And being a part of that and forging part of that experience is incredibly powerful, and don't ever forget that.
And now I'm here in the kitchen with Chef Lynn, and we are going to cook with okra today, which I'm very excited about.
As am I.
Good. What are we going to make first?
The first thing that we're going to make is a gumbo. A gumbo is kind of one of those, you think okra, it's a ubiquitous dish that comes to mind. This wonderful kind of earthy, nutty, Louisiana flavors going on, but we, instead of using a lot of heavy sausages and chicken or even prawns and seafood, this is going to be entirely vegetarian.
All right.
We will start with the roux. Now, the roux is perhaps the most important part of the whole process. So a roux is typically equal parts flour and butter.
All right, and
Now-
so far we've got melted butter in there.
I'll let you keep stirring this just to kind of achieve a homogeneous mass in here, or homogeneous slime, I guess. So a roux is actually what will thicken this kind of rustic stew. We will let this toast over medium to high heat until we kind of have almost a peanut butter colored roux. So we're going to start with kind of the trinity of Creole cuisine: garlic, onion, celery.
So a little bit of thyme now.
And now we're going to start working on the okra. So I use everything but the stem end. So where the okra emerges from the plant is obviously on the stem. The flower would have been out here. This, after having been pollinated, becomes the seed cavity. So I'm going to remove everything, or I'm going to use everything but that stem end. And again, saving that stem end for the chickens. And maybe put an 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch slice on all of the okra. And it looks like we are almost ready to start adding the vegetables into. In fact, let's go ahead and start.
All right, this roux has gotten nice and brown.
And that is beautiful. Just that beautiful peanut butter color. We're going to let these vegetables, or again, that trinity, start getting really happy. Now I sound like Emerald Lagasse, sorry about that. In that roux, and sweat in that roux, and allow some of their essential oils to come out, which really become the flavoring base for everything else. Now, what is also critically important in this development of flavor is to layer these flavors.
Okay.
So not only do we have these vegetables sweating in a brown roux, we're going to season that roux. And it always looks like I'm adding so much salt, but that is sea salt. It acts differently than an iodized salt. It's a little bit more subtle, a little bit softer. We're going to mince some garlic into there. We'll finish off with the okra, some oyster mushrooms, some cauliflower. And now we're going to start adding some of that really rich vegetable stock.
Nice. This is going to feel far more indulgent than it is, isn't it?
Yes, it really is.
I'm excited about that.
If you want to keep stirring that. So a roux doesn't reach the apex of its thickening ability until the stock or the liquid that it's thickening has returned to the boil. So we really won't know how thick this will be until we're almost there. Obviously, we're boiling at this point. You kind of need to keep that in constant motion. I'm guessing that that's going to take about 2 more cups. This is a little bit of Creole spice, something that you will never find me using at the restaurant. I enjoy those flavors, but it doesn't marry and blend well with what we usually do at the restaurant. That's a combination of chili and curry powders, cayenne, probably half a dozen different types of dried peppers, salt.
And it just changed the aroma in the room.
It
It's
does.
wonderful.
Absolutely. We will finish that with some crushed tomato.
So once we close that lid, how long do you let it simmer before it's time to eat?
You know, it's one of the most challenging questions for a chef to answer because my stock response will always be until it's done. So I'm just going to have to say maybe 12 minutes, 13 minutes at a very low simmer like this. The longest piece of produce in there to cook will be the cauliflower.
But happily, You have a finished product right here.
I do, because this
Look
is
at
television.
That looks amazing. And it smells amazing.
So this has been simmering away.
All right, well, I've got a bowl.
Excellent. We have some white rice that I've steamed off earlier. Right over the rice. And maybe just a coarse chop of some chives or some green onion.
Beautiful.
There you are.
That's fantastic. Let's give it a try. That's so delicious. There's so much texture in it. And it tastes like a really decadent soup. And the vegetables all have their own story to tell. This is really
Absolutely.
fantastic.
Thank you.
Oh, Chef Lynn, this is delicious. All right, so we've made a big pot of gumbo, and now you have something really inventive in mind. Tell me about this.
This I'm really excited about. It's an idea that I've been working around in my mind for quite a while, and this is the perfect media to kind of display this idea. So I love to do kind of these tongue-in-cheek ideas, and if you peel back that outer layer of skin from the okra, it actually looks like corn.
Yeah, it looks like a
The
little ear of corn.
kernels in there. So what we're going to do is grill this, season it obviously with a little bit of neutral oil and salt in a grill pan, and we're going to present this like it was Mexican street corn or elote.
Nice.
So it should be.
And for people
fingers
who've
crossed,
never had
really fun.
Mexican street corn, tell us
We
what
will
it's
be
like.
making, instead of just one mayonnaise, we'll be making 3 different mayonnaise. Cilantro, cotija cheese, and some chili pepper.
All right. This is going to be awesome.
So we're gonna boil.
And obviously you've peeled some of them for the little corn look, but you don't have to peel
You
all
don't
of
have
them.
to, no. So while that's going in the pan, we're gonna make the 3 finishing sauces, one of which I've already prepared, and I've smoked eggs, and then emulsified them with the same list of ingredients that we'll be doing the other 2. So this is gonna be the neutral or white colored aioli. We're gonna try this with some poblano peppers, which to me, this is the perfect amount of heat. We've roasted 2 of these. We've steamed them so this charred skin comes off. We'll add a couple whole eggs. The juice of maybe 1½ lemons. So an emulsion is essentially combining 2 different ingredients that wouldn't naturally bond together. Oil and a fat. So in doing that, I want to make certain that that base emulsion is seasoned really well to begin with. So we'll start, and again, it always looks like I'm adding way too much salt, but you'll be surprised. One of my favorite gadgets in the kitchen is the stick immersion blender.
Now you're adding the fat, and that's where the magic starts to happen, right?
If you wouldn't mind giving some of the okra a little bit of a stir. See, we have our second emulsion ready. And now we'll go ahead and start our third emulsion. I'm gonna back off on the quantity of this one and just do a single egg, and juice of 1 lemon, and turmeric. So, same method. We have the egg, the lemon, our flavoring ingredient. We'll start by seasoning that, and then we'll start the emulsion. So it's really kind of hard to tell when these are done. I'm going to give them kind of a little poke, like almost I would give a steak or a piece of chicken on the grill. And they're incredibly close.
Okay.
So we'll start dressing the plate. So we'll start with the green aioli, the white or smoked aioli, and then lastly, the turmeric aioli. So I just use an offset spatula and kind of drug that across. We will give this just a little bit of top finishing with salt. And then we will finish it with some charred sweet corn, just to kind of bring that flavor and the whole idea of this elote okra back to home base. A little bit of the chili pepper, a little sprig of the fresh cilantro, maybe just a light squeeze of lemon or lime. And then just a little bit of the cotija cheese to finish.
Nice.
And that's it.
So excited about this.
Thank you.
Okay, I want all the flavors. Oh, wow.
Grilling the okra, it doesn't have that sliminess that is really off-putting to a lot of people.
Right,
So this is
no.
a great way to prepare it.
It's a wonderful texture, and the grilling gives it a little bit more flavor. It's nice and mild, and it can carry these beautiful sauces. This is pretty decadent, but totally delicious. Chef Lynn, thank you so much.
My pleasure, thank you.
Old-fashioned soda fountains have long been a fun pastime for people. Offering tasty treats, a place to gather, and sometimes even an enjoyable lunch, they've given visitors a charming window into the past. Located in Sydney, Penn Drug is the oldest operating pharmacy in Iowa, and certainly the oldest of its kind to be owned by a single family, passed down through 5 generations of Penn men. Bill Penn's great-grandfather started the store in 1863.
During the Civil War years, and was started by my great-grandfather, who was the doctor here in Sydney. He'd ridden here on a horse from Ohio, and he just thought this was the right place to settle.
In 2013, Penn Drug celebrated its 150th year in operation. Customers can enjoy tasty ice cream treats any time of day, and the coffee klatch comes in 2 shifts, around 9 a.m. and 2 p.m., with some regulars hitting both.
Well, you can hear them back there. They got important things to do. Let's find out what happened. Hi, Bob. What happened during the night, you know. But these guys have a good time.
When Stoner Drug, located in Hamburg, got its start in 1896, the word stoner didn't have the hippie connotation it does today. A pharmacist named Cosby Stoner opened the drugstore in the late 1800s in a building that no longer exists, located 2 blocks from its current location where it's been since the 1950s. Phil Kerr has been with Stoner Drug for over 35 years.
We've kept a soda fountain over the years, mostly for, you know, there's nothing else in the community that provides this. So we do put advertising on the interstate. It doesn't really pay for itself, but it brings people to town, brings people into our store, and exposes them to what we have to offer. I think it's a nice atmosphere. It's nice and cool in the summertime and warm in the winter, and who doesn't like ice cream?
Today, Stoner Drug has 6 locations in Iowa, Nebraska, and Missouri.
It was probably around 1888 that the store was established with the soda fountain.
Located in Shenandoah, George J. Drug was established by George J. Sr. in the late 1880s. The business, which is still in its original building, recently celebrated its 125th year. The soda fountain is still an integral part of the business and continues to attract regulars and visitors alike.
I think that it's kind of just been a place that people have fond memories of when they were in their youth and high school, coming in here and coming back for vacations, reunions and things. And it's been here so long that it's just kind of an establishment.
That's it for this week's show. I'm Charity Nebbe. It's always wonderful to explore and preserve Iowa's culinary culture with you right here on Iowa Ingredient. Keep in mind that circumstances are always changing, so please take a moment to check ahead if you're planning to visit a restaurant, farm, or event featured on the show.
Funding for Iowa Ingredient is provided by the W.T. and Edna M. Dahl Trust, Chef Lisa Laval of Trellis Cafe and the River Center, and Chef Michael Laval of the Des Moines Embassy Club. For more than 100 years, the Des Moines Embassy Club has provided a place to dine, celebrate, and do business, located in downtown Des Moines and in West Des Moines. And Friends, the Iowa PBS Foundation. Generations of family and friends who feel passionate about the programs they watch on Iowa PBS.